Last week we talked about all the things that reminded us of why we chose this life.
Yeah, but this week we're asking ourselves, why the bloody hell did we choose this life?
Yeah.
This week, within the space of a few days, Dick is broken again.
Debbie threw a wobbler on a trip to Lincoln and back.
And we've turned the front of the house into what can only be described as a building site.
Thankfully, not everything has gone wrong though, because we do have a new toy to show you.
And it's already proven itself useful and be very handy when we come to fix Dick.
Again. So join us this week as we attempt to keep the wheels from falling off.
Literally and figuratively.
Here he comes. There's going to be one happy husband. He's been to Lincoln to pick up his new toy, courtesy of Mr. Taxman. Well, hang on. Turn that frown upside down. That is not a happy husband. What's wrong with your face?
It's a bit of a bittersweet day.
Why's that?
I have a new toy.
Yay!
But in collecting the new toy, I've been to Lincoln and back, and Debbie has burnt through around 3 litres of engine oil. So I think we have a problem. I'm hoping it's not the head gasket, because I've just done that. So it shouldn't be. So before we show you our new toy, I think I'd better take a look under the bonnet, see what's going on.
Yes, I think you better.
Oh dear.
It's a bit of an odd one, as with 3 litres of oil disappearing, you'd expect some clues. Either a trail of white bluish smoke out the exhaust or a puddle of oil everywhere she parks. And we have neither. Apart from a bit of white smoke when she first starts on a cold morning, and a couple of spots she leaves behind to mark a territory, like any old Land Rover does, there are no obvious signs as to where the oil is disappearing to. So this one is going to take some investigation. So, oil consumption could be a few things. Head gasket, which I'm hoping it isn't, because you see me do that a few weeks ago. That leaves a few other options. One, the turbo, which I think is probably most likely, or it could be a bit more involved than that, and it could be piston rings, which is a bigger job because it's more or less an engine rebuild for that. So let's hope it's not that. We can do a quick, easy check to make sure it's not the piston rings. It won't rule it out completely, but it gives you a good idea. So if it's the piston rings, when I take the oil filler cap off and start the engine, you should see exhaust smoke coming out. Also, if I just undo it and leave it resting in place, if there's too many exhaust gases coming out from there now when I start the engine, that cap will just shoot off. So let's start it up, see what happens. The cap wobbled a bit on startup, but then happily sat there. If the rings were worn enough to use 3 litres of oil, you'd expect the cap to be blown off completely or continue to dance around while the car's running. I can't see or feel any exhaust gases escaping, and my hand doesn't get covered in oil. Admittedly, this isn't the most scientific test, but it's enough for me to rule out the rings for now. So I don't think rings are the issue. The real test for the rings would be to remove the injectors and pop a compression tester on each cylinder, and that'll tell you how much pressure, how much PSI is in each cylinder. And if, well, you check it with the specs, or check to see if one's lower than the others, and then you know, it's a good chance either it's head gasket or rings. I don't have a compression tester, so that's just a nice easy test just to rule it out initially. Next thing I think is going to be the turbo. I think the seals have probably most likely gone in the turbo, and then oil is passing by where it shouldn't and it's getting burnt. But I don't see too much smoke, which I would expect to have seen, because it's burnt a good few litres going to Lincoln and back, and I would have expected some excessive whitey blue smoke, which I haven't necessarily seen, but I still think it's the most likely culprit. So what we're going to do is take the intercooler pipes off and see how much oil comes out. It's perfectly normal to find a light coating of oil on the inside of the intercooler pipework on an old turbo diesel. Both the crankcase breather and the turbo introduce a fine oil mist into the intake system, so a light film is expected. It's only when oil starts pouring out that it becomes a cause for concern. I don't think this is enough oil to worry about, so I'm going to pop that back and look elsewhere. After no luck from above, I crawled around on the floor to see if I could spot where the oil might be finding its way out of the engine. It didn't take too long to find the bottom of the bell housing completely covered in oil. Normally, this points towards a leaking rear crank seal, which in itself isn't a particularly bad job. But, unfortunately, to change the rear crank seal, the gearbox has to come off, so I'm not exactly thrilled at the prospect. For now, I've cleaned up the bell housing, and after our next big journey, I'll have another look underneath to see if the oil reappears, and hopefully that'll confirm whether it is indeed the culprit. I know it won't solve the problem, but in the meantime, I've refilled Debbie with some classic 2050 oil. It's slightly thicker both when cold and when it's hot, so hopefully it will slow down the leak a little bit until we can be certain exactly where it's going. But what do you lot reckon? Am I barking up the wrong tree? If you've got any experience with 200 TDIs or you've had something similar happen, let us know in the comments below, because at the moment your guess is probably as good as mine. Well, I suppose we've kept you waiting long enough and we'd better show you our new toy. It's a Kärcher hot wash, and best of all, it came at our favourite price. Free. Well, sort of. I had a tax rebate, so this new toy comes courtesy of HMRC.
Now we say toy, but this is actually going to be a really valuable bit of kit up here. Keeping all of our machinery clean should hopefully help it last longer, and it also means we can spot maintenance jobs before they turn into expensive repairs.
Unlike a normal pressure washer, this one heats the water up to 90 degrees, and the combination of heat and pressure will effortlessly melt through mud and grease without the need for any harsh chemicals, which is important for us because everything eventually drains into the stream.
This Kärcher is also designed to work off-grid. Most hot washers of this size need either a 3-phase electricity or a hefty 16 amp supply, neither of which we have.
Instead, this one is powered by a Honda GX engine and can deliver up to 150 bar of pressure and around 800 litres of water an hour. That means it can work pretty much anywhere there's a water supply with no need to plug it into the mains.
Normally, I roll my eyes whenever Anthony comes home with something else we apparently need up here. But after watching it melt away the mud that was covering Debbie, I think this one actually is going to earn its keep.
If you've never used a hot wash before, you'll probably be amazed at just how easily the dirt seems to disappear. After all, you don't wash your dishes at home with cold water because it simply doesn't cut through the grease and grime in the same way. The difference that heat makes really is incredible.
And as satisfying as watching all that mud disappear is, I'm hoping the biggest benefit is that by keeping everything clean, we'll spot problems before they leave us stranded, which is exactly what happened with Dick and Debbie this week.
Bloody hell. You've been busy.
I've been weeding.
I've been round the corner playing with Dick, and I've just come back round back of the house and it's all changed. All of this was all overgrown. I don't know whether you remember, we showed you a few weeks ago that this is the old channel that the mill race used to run down. So the water wheel used to be there, and then it used to run down here, and we said we wanted to open it back up and improve the drainage at the front of the house.
Yeah.
So Emma's gave it a start while I was busy round the front. And then also, because you've seen with the mice last week, all of this was all overgrown, and mice apparently don't like open spaces, so they've been crawling around in all the bushes and then finding their way into the house. So if we can get rid of all the weeds and the vegetation like we have done round here, hopefully this will help keep the little buggers out.
Stop talking and come and help me weed.
Right, I'm coming to get your hand now. I've finished playing with my Dick.
This is how the front of the house currently looks. The old leat runs at the front edge of the garden before disappearing underneath it and emerges into a pond the other side of the wall. Trouble is, somewhere under the garden there is a blockage and the leat doesn't flow any water. So instead of it draining away, it soaks into the ground and, as you saw the other week, eventually ends up in our cellar. With the help of our friend Gary Paul Thomas, or as you might call him, ChatGPT, we've mocked up what we're aiming for. We want to dig back the garden to uncover the leat, find some old flagstones and lay a small patio area that slopes away from the house and flows any water into the renewed leat.
So with that being said, we'd better pull our fingers out and get on with it. We've got a lot of stone and soil to move. We were secretly hoping that once we removed the old stone path and a couple of layers of dirt and mud, we would miraculously uncover a lovely old patio area, but alas, it was not meant to be. So now we've basically just made a bit of a mess at our back door.
We've done that thing again, Emma, where we've just started a random job and it's ended up sort of escalating. Well, I sort of knew how big it was and I wasn't really intending to do it. I was meant to be playing with my dick, but guess what?
Dick's broken.
Dick's broken again. I'll show you in a second. Not too happy.
No.
So I thought I'd come and help Emma, and now this job's just gone.
Yeah.
And now we need to do something with this, else we're going to be traipsing mud in and out of the house.
Yeah. I don't think it's as bad as you think. If we just.
Yeah. You don't know how big of a job it is, I don't think. Right, let's go get some spades, start shoveling this mud.
Oh, freaking spade. This is how we left it last night. And it's really hard to have a plan when you don't know quite what you're working with, because we thought we'd take this out and we'd have a bit more of a path underneath it, but turns out not.
Yeah, there is some nice big stones, but not enough to make a path out of.
No.
So the plan now is to just scrape all this back down to the height that we want, all of this, including that bit of garden as well. And then once we've uncovered it all, we'll put some stone down and then see if we can find some old flagstones to relay and make it a nice little outdoor patio area. Right, let's get cracking.
Yeah, enough jibber jabber.
Don't worry, the smoke you can see isn't because the house is on fire. We just lit a bit of a fire to keep the midges at bay.
There was a lot of humping and dumping done on that day. We lost count of the amount of loads that Big Bertha took.
Snigger, snigger.
But there was definitely a good few tons of soil and stone moved. We even managed to uncover the root cause of the problem that created the blockage on the underground leak. Root, did you see what I did there?
All right, leave the jokes to me, love.
I think we have found what's blocking this, Emma.
Oh, it's a root. Ooh.
I think this is probably the cause
I bet you it's
of
a
all the
sophie
problems.
stick.
Oh, there, look. A big fat root. Is that an old tree stump there? Or an old fence
Yes, it's an old
Who knows?
I don't know.
By the way, that won't have been doing this leak any favours, which is why we want to leave it all open like that, and then we can see if there's any problems.
During our archaeological dig, we found lots of bits of broken crockery. We were trying to collect to see if we could make a plate, but I think there's too...
I don't think we've quite got enough for a plate. Hey, we'll go hungry if we're using them as plates.
We could lose some weight. So I think they've come out of an old rockery, because when we were digging all of this out, we found these. We also found loads of quartz, like white. It's quite pretty and decorative, and I think years ago it would have been used to make the garden look pretty.
That's all we've got time for to dig out this week, but we've still got lots more soil to remove. We want to take all of this back down like another foot still. If any of you lot know where we can get any old flagstones from, or you've got any links to any that's for sale, let us know, because we don't want new slabs down, we want to put some old stuff down. Yeah, before we go, let's go and show you what we've done to Dick though, eh? Or what Dick's done to himself.
Let's go see what he's broken on Dick now.
You know that track we just put back on? Well, it wants to pull itself off.
Lucky track.
Not like that. Let me show you the problem.
Pretty interesting though. What is this? Is there bits of metal go through it?
Yeah, so there's metal cord.
Oh, no wonder it's bloody heavy.
Metal cord that goes around the track to tie it all together, and then bits of metal through it where the teeth are that grip the cogs. So as you can see, this is torn, so every time it comes to come over the cog, it just, yeah. So basically, the track is knackered.
So yeah, new track. It's a bloody good job that we saved ourselves £800 by fixing the tensioner ram ourselves, because that £800 is exactly what a new track costs. But doesn't work without one, so we need to get one ordered. If we'd have already bought our new toy and this was all clean and tidy, we perhaps would have seen that this track was on its way out, but we hadn't got a hot wash then, so we couldn't see it. At least we can give it a good hose down with the hot wash though, make it all nice and clean, and it should make, I don't know, any future maintenance easier, because we can see problems before they're problems.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. That'll do. Do you know the most annoying thing about the broken track? So this tensioner ram that we've rebuilt has just had 2 brand new tubes of bloody grease pumped into it, and now we've got to compress it all and empty the grease out in order to get the bloody track off. What a waste of bloody grease!
Despite everything trying its hardest to fight back this week, we've still made some progress.
Dick's new track should be arriving early next week, so that can get fixed again.
Debbie is still soldering on for now.
And for the first time in I don't know how many years, this leak has seen daylight again, and he's actually flowing some water now.
Life up here certainly isn't always glamorous.
And some weeks we do wonder why we chose this life.
But even with all the problems,
we wouldn't have it any other way.
Because we're made mental.
So this week you've seen us uncover this old drainage channel at the front of our house. But do you know why there are so many plumbers in the Netherlands?
No.
All their drains are full of clogs. And on that note, folks, thanks for watching. You know what to do.
Subscribe,
like,
comment, share,
hype, all that jazz. See you next week.
See you later. Bye.